Hi everyone, in today's video I'm gonna be doing an unboxing. Here it is, it just came and I got the new, well actually it's not as new, I think they released it in 2019, but since then they didn't release an upgrade, and it's the Canon G7x Mark III, and yeah, let's just get into it. Here it is. I also ordered a mount because I want to test out, I basically want to compare this camera to my Sony ZV-1 because I feel like a lot of people compare these two cameras and everyone just has a different opinion, but majority of people do prefer this one. And since I've been using Sony ZV-1 for over 2 years now, which is crazy, mind-blowing. Okay, let's just open it up. Here is the warranty. We got our charger here, battery, and that's a strap, little strap. And here's our camera. And I got the silver version here, as you can see. And I got it because the black one was unavailable, but I kind of like the look of it. Pretty big screen, which is nice because, not gonna lie, having a bigger screen is just better. Like, you can see yourself better, you can see it clear in focus. And I hear that with this camera, the biggest complaint people have is that the autofocus doesn't work as well. And I transitioned to Sony cameras years ago. I think it was in 2016. I used to use Canon cameras only, and they were great, amazing colors. I really liked them, but the autofocus was awful. It was really bad, and I remember just transitioning to Sony. I was just like, wow, is this even possible? Like, it was such a big difference. It's a funny looking battery. The one that comes with Sony ZV-1 looks more, solid. This one is just like, oh, okay. The screen looks much better. Like, first impressions, like, it's much bigger. It's, I don't know, like, looks brighter. I don't know if it's just the settings I have set on my ZV-1, but like, just, it looks really good. And battery died, so I'm just gonna have to charge it. So light. Okay, so the camera didn't come with a USB cable, but I know that apparently it's supposed to be able to work as a webcam. So I have a USB, of course, I have it, I already plugged it in. And you know what? Here's my USB cable that I'll try to connect to this camera and see if it's gonna power up. I did take out the battery, so I have a feeling it won't be able to connect the. It probably won't turn on because it doesn't have the battery, but let me see, maybe. It actually works! My Sony camera, it has to have a battery inside to be able to power up when you connect it to a power adapter, even if the battery is dead. So that's kind of amazing. I'm gonna play around with settings, just get a feel for this camera, but I'm very excited about it. Like, it's not as plasticky as Sony ZV-1, like the, it feels very solid. This one is it's all plastic. That's why they got the price so low, because the build quality is not as solid as this. I would say, I do care a lot more about the quality of the video over how well the camera looks, obviously. But if you care about that stuff, Canon looks just more solid, like, looks like a very good quality camera. And probably if you, toss it around your bag, probably will last longer. I'm always very careful with my Sony ZV-1. I have a case for it. So whenever I travel, I always put it in a case because I just don't want to damage it. Here's my mount. I got it pretty much just for this video, just to test. I probably will use it a lot in the future because I just love testing new gear. It just brings me so much joy. I don't know why. I'm nerdy like that, and it brings me so much joy to just play around with new tech. This is my favorite tripod. It's the Manfrotto. I actually don't know what's the name of it, but you can extend super easily the legs. You can adjust, it has different settings, so you can, do it like this, do it like that. Like, depending on how, like, tall you want this tripod to be, it can fully adjust. Another nice thing is that you don't have to turn the camera around to mount on it. You can just turn this little knob, which is super convenient, especially if you're trying to remove the camera quickly. Here are some other adjustments you can do. Really nice tripod for the price. I think I paid for it like $30-40. It was on sale, so pretty insane. And this is my favorite microphone for my point and shoot. This is the Movo Pro microphone. I filmed a comparison video between this one, the cheaper Movo microphone, and also my very professional Audio-Technica microphone, and you can compare how they all sound. But I can just say this one, especially, again, pretty affordable, I think around $30 to $50, depending if you get the regular version or the Pro. Pro is a little more expensive. I think it's $49, but the quality is amazing. Much better than built-in microphone. Okay, it's currently 3 p.m. It got much darker. I think it's gonna rain, so it's not super dark here, but I still want to film my, I guess, what do we call it, like unboxing review video of my new camera. I'm like so excited to use it, and I finally got my battery charged. Gotta say, this is a pretty small and light charger. Just for comparison, this is the Sony ZV-1. Well, technically you can also use it for their other point and shoot cameras, but like, just compare. This is so much bigger and heavier too. And I'm comparing with both. This is with a battery in both of them, so I can tell this one's so much lighter, smaller. Not to mention, I didn't have to pay for it. It just came with a camera. For the Sony one, you gotta buy it separately. Okay, so here we have Canon, here's Sony. I'm gonna turn them both at the same time. You know what? They are both kind of fast. Okay, even now let's see, compare them. How quickly they open. Pretty fast. Okay, I have my setup here. I'm testing also the microphone, so I'm not gonna use any external microphone. Testing both cameras, and I don't know if the viewfinders are like 100% correct. We'll see on my computer how it looks, but looking at Canon, I can see my face is a lot more red, even though I did turn down saturation. And on the Sony, I also did turn down the saturation. I just prefer to add some color grading in post, but it looks very different. And maybe I'm just gonna move a little bit. Also, excuse my laundry on bed. Doing a lot of laundry today. And here, it is very dark here today, but I'm by the window now. And I try to get the cameras like as close as possible. You know, it's very hard to tell that like the camera is that much wider with the Canon. I feel like it's actually not. That's so weird. I was actually expecting to be much wider, so it's interesting. The colors are so much different. Like, it's so like, I mean, obviously, and it's, I mean, I did pretty much match the settings on both cameras to be -3 saturation, -3 contrast, and yet on the Canon, like, my hair looks so dark, almost black. I mean, there's like a ton of more contrast on the Canon, but I do feel like Sony is actually reflecting the reality more. Like, it's definitely a cloudy day, it's more yellow, less pink, less blue as on the Canon. So it's a very interesting test so far. The autofocus is tracking pretty well, right? Maybe I'm gonna, here, Sony. Sony is still seeing like my finger and wand. Come on, that's so funny. I actually thought Canon would lose it, but it seems to be focusing much better. Come on. Wow. That is a very interesting test. It's completely not what I expected after watching all the reviews and people really like being very negative about autofocus on Canon. You know, it's showing me that it's tracking my face. So as soon as yeah, very interesting. I mean, also Sony is also tracking technically my eye, this eye, I can see. So very interesting. It's having a harder time, much harder time actually. That's very surprising. Maybe let's walk around. I turned off stabilization on the Sony because it will be much more cropped, and since Canon is not cropped, I didn't want to, you know, I wanted to be as equal as possible. So I just walk around. I feel like I shouldn't even say anything. Now it's a lot more echoey here. It's a huge room and there's not a lot of furniture here, so I'm also curious how it's gonna sound. Hello, Tortellino. Hello. Hello. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Ooh. Aren't you excited? So excited? Oh, wow. No bite. Sit. 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 Good boy. Pets. Okay, stop looking. It's very exciting to see also how quickly it adjusts the brightness. The AC is running as well, so the audio should be awful in this room. So right now there's a window in front of me, and it gives, I mean, it's interesting. It's giving me very harsh shadows on the Canon. On the Sony though, the colors actually look very nice. And I'm actually curious if it's just like the viewfinders giving me not the correct results. Like I'll have to see on the camera, on the computer, but some tests. So far the autofocus on Canon is working really well. I was expecting it to be awful, but it's not bad. I feel like Sony is more realistic. It doesn't, you know, smooth it out. I mean, you can change that in settings, but I turned that out because it was a little too much. But both cameras track my face pretty well. Maybe I'm trying to get too close, but yeah. No, even then I'm not the greatest light, so that's interesting. But I'm still thinking, I mean, let me move this camera here maybe. Okay. Okay, so there, I feel like there's a very small difference between the, how wide, like how cropped in Sony is. Like it's slightly cropped in, it's not that cropped in. I thought the difference would be much bigger, but it is what it is. Stabilization is off on both cameras. If I'll turn it on, I mean, actually, I think it's automatic on Canon. I think there is some stabilization, but there is no, like, at least I didn't see the setting yet. On Sony, you can set it to standard or to steady shot. Currently it's off. When I change anything, it's getting cropped even more. Steady shot is the smoothest stabilization, and unfortunately, it's very, very cropped, so it's not nice. So I tried to match the saturation on the Sony to the one on the Canon because it's definitely a lot more saturated. But even though I upped it, the saturation is still not as saturated, which is very interesting. So it is what it is. But I'm testing it in a pretty bright room. It's like filled with light, so it, like, the quality should be good. It's probably on the minimum ISO because it is pretty bright here. But I do have a diffuser, so it's not like the super sharp light. But this is what it looks like, and I still don't want to really share which camera I personally prefer, but it's funny how, like, changing the settings on both cameras, it gives you very different results. Bringing down saturation on Canon still doesn't give you the same results as keeping saturation on, like, the regular standard setting on the Sony. Like, the saturation is much lower, like, naturally on that camera. So it is very interesting. Like, Canon definitely oversaturate the footage, which probably, you know, that's the look that they go for, like, you know, with phones. Like on iPhone, like, pictures are usually not as saturated as on Android phones. This is just what it is. Yeah, but testing the autofocus. I'm currently recording on the manual settings on both cameras. I tested the auto setting a lot today, so I kind of wanted to, like, play with settings and basically try to match settings on both cameras so they look as close as possible. Even though, like I said, on Canon, I had to bring down the saturation to the lowest, and on Sony, I had to actually bring it up from the standard setting. So very interesting, and I still feel like I can't get the same results, which is insane. Yeah. One thing that I have to mention that I don't know if, like, it's a user error, but I can't change the recording quality on the Canon to 4K when it is in manual mode. So basically, if I want to, like, you know, customize my settings, I can only change it to 1080p. Like, it's going to be recording in 1080p if I want to customize my settings, because when I do video mode, of course, it allows me to do 4K, but also doesn't allow me to do, like, any customization. So that is really, it's a pretty big deal breaker for me, because I just, like, I have some settings that I like, you know, I like to keep the f-stop pretty low to have a nice bokeh, and yeah, I just can't really customize Canon as much as I can customize the Sony ZV-1. That's one thing that I feel like, you know, it's no one else gonna care about. I just know that people love to, you know, get great settings out of the camera without trying to, like, learn and you know, really get into it. So it's something that's not gonna thought there are a lot of people, but I'm one of those nerds, so. Autofocus should work as like amazing as possible because like this is the best light conditions we will ever get. So if autofocus is not working great, I'm gonna be very disappointed. You know, I should work out of here a lot more often. This used to be my office, and I moved to my bedroom. I built myself a desk there and I started to work there. Just, I don't know, because I like the light in the morning. It's just beautiful sunrise light, so I just prefer working there, but sunset light is here. Okay, so this is how the audio sounds with the external Movo Pro microphone. So you can compare in this very echoey room. The reverb is tragic here. This is like the worst room to record videos in, and also partially that's why I moved to my bedroom where echo is not so bad, just because it's so echoey. It's very hard to record, so I feel like even I should get very close to this microphone to not pick up as much noise in this room. That's unfortunate. Can someone give me some tips? Like, I really don't want to put, you know, I mean, I guess the only thing I could fix here is literally put like audio installation all over the walls, which I'm not a fan of, but I probably should. I actually do have, Tony actually bought a whole like customized installation, like professional sound studio installation for his room, and he didn't like put it on his walls yet. And he's only using like 5 panels, so I could like use another, I think he still have like 4 panels left, so I could put them all over this room just like compare how it's gonna sound. I'm actually curious, like I kind of want to do it. I kind of want to just test it out if it's gonna like block some of the echo here, because it would be spectacular, and possibly I could move into this office and start working out of here if the audio would be, you know, much better. But yeah, this is the audio test of the Movo Pro microphone with the Canon G7x. Okay, and this is the Movo Pro microphone with the Sony camera. This is how it sounds. I actually had to stop recording on my Canon camera because it started overheating and I had to turn it off. So taking, you know, a little pause, a little break, trying to let it cool down. Yeah, unfortunately, even though the limit it's on 4K recording is like 10 minutes on Canon, technically, even if it will stop recording after a few minutes, I didn't record even for a full 10 minutes and it was overheating already. So you have to turn off the camera, and you know, it's a pretty big deal if you don't have another camera to, you know, record whatever you were recording with. So that's, you know, could be a deal breaker for some people. The Sony ZV-1 never had any issues with overheating, and I do record for sometimes 30 to 40 minutes. So it's on 4K, always 4K. So I'm just letting you guys know it's never a problem with this camera. Yeah, so it's a pretty echoey room, like I said. So this microphone is helping a ton with the room noise, with all the reverb. It's not gonna be gone 100%. I can try, always, of course, I always try to remove the reverb in post, but if you can get a very good audio straight out of camera, it's still much better than, you know, trying to fix it in post. So this is how it sounds, this is how it looks. We have the perfect lighting conditions, and here's a quick autofocus test. My favorite. I can see that it's tracking my left eye right now, so